Now, when the 1955 flood started to cover Louth Park area, Dad, he hoisted what he could up into the roof for safekeeping. You think that'd be pretty good. Included in those articles was my violin. And the neighbours brought their fridges, etc., and all that sort of stuff, and stored them on the front patio, thinking they're safe enough, they'll be right. And the water, you've got to understand, down Louth Park, especially where our house was, it's really backwater. It's not in the current, and it rose real slow, and then it got to a point that it rose a bit quick. By the late Friday night, the water was starting to come into the house, and our phone was Maitland 726, and it was still working, would you believe? And we rang for help. The Stockton Surf Club responded, and we placed lamps around the patio so they could find us. And by the time the surf club arrived, there was a foot of water in the house. So really what we had at that point was 9 feet of water on the block of land. The surf club rowed their boat in on the patio, and we climbed on board. So you had to do that because if you slipped, you would have got another 8 foot of water. So we climbed on board. They came into the patio. They rowed us up to then Maitland Girls High in Elgin Street, Maitland Girls High School. Now what they did, they followed the street lights because the street lights were still on. And they did that so they didn't hit anything. And what they did is rowed us down Park Street to Louth Park Road. Then they rowed us down Louth Park Road to, as the bypass now, it was Parallel Street. Mum used to call that the cattle track. So they rowed us down to there and then followed the street down, and they crossed the rail at Elgin Street, and we come up to the school. Our family were members of the Salvation Army, and we lived and cooked for the people at Maitland at the school. And we witnessed food drops from the RAAF, and we know they did some drops up in High Street, but they also did some drops at the school. Now, the long building of the now school is the primary school. There's a long playground just behind it, and the RAF personnel on the ground used to make sure you're out of the road, of course, and they used to do the drops on that strip of land. And I didn't realise how heavy a drop of bread would be. And they missed one, and it went straight into Pender Brothers' galvanised iron wall. I don't know whether it actually went through, but it made a mess of it. At the height of the 55 flood, there was 3 feet of water in our house. So you had 11 feet of water on the block of land, which there was enough water to cover the keyboard of a new piano, Sydney Symphony piano, which my sister bought from Wilkes's in High Street in Maitland. When we cleaned all the mud from inside the house, which was plenty of it, but fortunately we weren't like some of the other people out in the ceilings around us, but it only just got into the house. And because we got some of the stuff out of the ceiling, and they got my violin out of the ceiling, and it come apart because violins are only stuck with glue. And I took the violin to Nicholson's in Sydney at the time, and they wanted to know how this violin got in such a bad state, and I explained what the situation was, what it went through, and they repaired it and fixed it all up for me for nothing. So it didn't cost me anything, and I had my violin back, which were pretty good.